Well, we'd like to ask two of our mentors to come up and share their story. Fred Puffenberger and Bridget Lawler, if you could come up. I'd like them to inspire us a little bit with how mentoring has impacted their life.
The first time that we came to the PDI training program, I was asked a question about who was somebody who had mentored me and really had an impact on my life. And I really had to pause because it was very hard for me to think about who had the greatest impact. And then I got asked again last night if I would talk to everybody about this subject. And so again, I was thinking, because I've been working for a long time. I think I got my first job when I was 5. I'm serious. I used to have to wait for my mother. You know, it was back in the day when you used to get your hair do once a week. And my mother would take me into the beauty salon and I'd have to wait for her. So they gave me a job unloading the beauty products, the boxes, onto shelves. And they would pay me in, yes, cupcakes. So for anyone who knows me, I would always rather have a cupcake than money. So that was my first job. So I kid you not when I say I'd probably seen just about everything you can imagine. But for me, I think my mentors were my parents. My parents were hard workers, but what they taught me that I think was most important was that to never look at anybody's job or what they did for work and not see the value in it or ask them about it. Find out from these people what it is that they do, what they like about their job, and what they don't do. My parents' philosophy was that there was never any shame in work. If you did your best and you worked hard and you showed up every day and you were good to your coworkers and you were good to the people who worked for you, then you were an excellent worker and you were an excellent citizen. But more importantly, I think my parents were people who loved to laugh and have a great time. Good. You know, for me, if you're not enjoying what you do, and if you're not laughing, and if you can't get other people who work with you to laugh through the times when it's really challenging at work, then you're doing something wrong and you should be someplace else. So I think that that's also an interesting thing that you kind of have to watch out for, because there's also going to the other extreme, where sometimes people's perception of you might be that because you are always laughing and having a good time, that you're an idiot. Or that you're not serious about your work. So hopefully I will be able to take the two little lambs who I have and help them to sort of understand that if you're not finding joy in what you do, and if you're not helping other people find joy, then you gotta do something else. Then you're not in the right place. And again, to value those people around you, even the annoying ones, who you have to work with every day, and you're just like, oh dear God, please. You have to understand where they're coming from and try to find a way to work with them and to get them to be joyous in what they do.
Well, irony of ironies, I also was 5 years old and worked in a beauty shop. Not really. I guess I always wanted to. I agree with what was said by everybody, but one of the things that I found is that to this day, and I'm excited about this program, is I'm going to be a mentee. I moved here from Michigan after a series of decades in Michigan. So the people that I'm going to meet here are going to teach me some things that I don't know, and I'm looking forward to that. So that's one of the things about being a mentor I'm looking forward to. My mentor, I'll tell you the first day, this fellow hired me back in 1980 something. And the first day, it was at a law school, and I'm a nervous country bumpkin kind of guy. And we go into the law school building, there's a revolving door. I swear to God, my hand again. I'm with this guy an hour, right? I'm really intimidated. He's got the big office, and I'm just like shaking like this. So we get into the revolving door together in a little cylinder. I'm serious, I'm walking like this. And I'm going, revolving doors, right? And he looks at me, and I figured right there I was toast. I was not going to make it to lunch. But to this day, I got him on speed dial. I can call him. And it was, 26 years ago, I think. He was a former Supreme Court Justice of the state of Michigan, the youngest Supreme Court Justice ever. He had run for lieutenant governor. He had run for the U.S. Senate. A couple of times and lost. I don't tell you that about losing him, not to impress you, but the fact that he was the most joyous guy you'd ever meet. He had that old thought process that there is no failure, there's just another way to do it. That's all. He didn't learn that. He had to learn that, and he just kept keeping himself up against all odds, and he taught that to me. And I didn't know he was teaching it to me until later on. And after a while, I became one of those fellows that he trusted. He would say something. If we had an issue in my department, the student would go to him because he had a really open door policy, which sometimes isn't that good. But he would say, well, what did Fred tell you? And the student would say, and he says, well, that's what we're going to do. That's the kind of relationship that I think we're all going to get out of this if we open our hearts and open our minds to it. And I think that kind of mentoring is about life, not necessarily about professionalism, because they are hand in glove. We talked about professionalism, and I think two words come to mind when I think of a professional: courteous and respectful of what you're doing, of who you are, and how you're seen, and how you treat others. And if you can do those things, we did talk about pornography, didn't we, Counselor?
Yes.
Is it Supreme Court?
Yeah.
Made a ruling, and they said that I don't know what pornography is, but I know it when I see it. So that's kind of what professionalism is that you'll know when you see it. But if you use courtesy and you use respect, you're almost there. So anyway, I'm glad I had a few minutes with you. Thank you very much.